their biggest focus is on cross country so that it stays in the Olympics. And then obviously there's downhill, which has like the most to lose.
Yeah.
So I understand it. And I think that to me, it makes sense. And I'm happy just to go and race my bike and do my thing.
So coming into 2024, it's a smaller season this year, which is in some ways disappointing, and in other ways kind of, I guess, understandable with brands going through struggles, and it makes the whole thing a bit more affordable from that perspective. What was your view coming into the year on having this like very EU focused shorter season?
Yeah, I think that we are just at the whim of a big corporation now. And I think their focus is slightly elsewhere. And so it's unfortunate for sure, but I think it's just, in my view, it's temporary.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to get up in arms and complain and scream and shout. And you're like, okay, well, it's 1 year. And I don't foresee it happening forever because, you know, the guy in charge created this sport and I don't think he wants to see it this way. And so he's just doing the best that he can right now. And I just kind of, I don't know, I have faith in these guys. Like I've known Chris for, I don't know, 11 years now. And, and he's a pretty good guy. So I think that it'll be fine. Like this season was, extremely European based, as in exclusively European based, which just the only thing that I don't like is, you know, the lack of sympathy, I think, from the Euros who live here and don't have to travel, that we have to worry about visa days. Like we're all going to be like close to over days just doing this race series.
Yeah.
I had to go home had to, but 9 days just to like escape the EU so I could like be under days. And it's like, that's 2 jet lag trips in less than 2 weeks. And it kind of sucks.
Stress on the body. That's not positive stress for training.
So it's tough to compete against people who don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I think is slightly unfair.
Yeah.
But Europe's amazing. I love traveling to Europe. They have great venues. And, you know, I think that moving forward, hopefully we get back to some of the classic venues and things will be all good.
Yeah. What gives you confidence that it's a kind of temporary thing?
We've been having a lot more meetings with those upper management people and kind of telling them like, hey, you know, we want to see the sport succeed and these are the things that we think need to happen, and they're being super receptive, and
cool.
I think that's really good. So
yeah,
it's been good. It's tough because it used to be such a small company and so easy to like move, but now it's huge, and their biggest focus is on cross country so that it stays in the Olympics, and then obviously there's downhill, which has like the most to lose.
Yeah.
So I understand it, and I think that to me it makes sense, and I'm happy just to go and race my bike and do my thing, and then now we're like feeling like we have the chance to be like, okay, like you've dealt with all those things, and now we can kind of figure out our own things. And yeah,
that's great to have that perspective. And I've never thought about it, but like the bigger a company gets, the less agile it gets, because there's layers of approval and all this kind of stuff. And it's gone from, I mean, I don't know how big ESO was when it was just running EWS, but probably tens of people, if not less. And then suddenly you're in this corporation of tens of thousands probably around the world running Warner Brothers. So that makes a lot of sense.
It's tough for sure. And like, that's the thing, is you have to accept that. And I think, like I said, I think we'll get back to where it should be. And I think people underestimate, like, obviously the impact COVID had on not just brands, but organizers. Like, so many people would have struggled to get through that and have the means to put on a race again. So
and it's still having an impact to some extent, right?
Yeah.
Bike brands are still suffering consequences as a result of COVID, like overstock, supply chain issues. So we're not out of the woods yet on that. Fully.
Not totally. No. So,
but we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah.
And it's cool that you're getting, the voice feels like it's getting heard more. And Josh has started a little, like a riders group to connect things up, I think, as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah, it's been super positive. Right, let's talk about the racing. We kicked off in finale, which from what I hear was relatively challenging. Like, we're back to pushing the liaison times a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of that because I train really hard and I like doing big days, and I thought that race was borderline, but it was good. Do you think borderline is where it should be?
Yeah, I think that we've had it easy. Like, I don't want to finish a race and feel like it was easy.
Yeah.
Like, that is, to me, not a World Cup.
Yeah, because otherwise what are you training for? Like,
yeah, and like it should be the hardest race in the world. Like,
yeah.
That's what it should be. And I think that I enjoy suffering with everybody, you know. I wish that I still think we need like slightly longer transfers, because it allows, like, the day doesn't need to be fast. It just needs to be big.
Yeah.
So, and then I think that, you know, we've had some, like, Poland was pretty much perfect. Like, we had just enough time for everything, but it was a big day.
Yeah.
Finale was a bit tight. And what did we just have? Combloux had one tight transfer.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was good. And, like, yeah, you're just there and you're struggling, you're sweating, no one's talking to the transfers, and you're struggling through it together. So I think it's good, and I think it's good when we get to do lots of descending and lots of good tracks. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Finale was super tough, but you have this sense of, like, pride that you got through it, and everyone's like, honestly, everyone's like stoked at the finish. And for some people, like, it's really hard, and I think it brings up the question of, you know, and this is gonna, like, it stirs up controversy, but, like, different category transfer times, basically. So
okay, interesting.
I think that, you know, you would think that juniors shouldn't have to do the same times as we do. Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, when you think about it, like, it makes sense physically. You should be more developed and fit.
You look at
stronger.
cross country and they have different lap times. Or not lap times, but different amount of laps. So I think that's just fair. It's just fair they have a stepping stone into elite. So I think in downhill, it's impressive that everyone has, like, the same track and does the same thing. But you could argue that juniors do less racing, because they do.
Yes.
Because elites now have qualies, semis, and finals, and juniors just have qualies and finals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, true.
So one less race run.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.